Let's analyze it from a legal standpoint.
Sure. It's garbage. How about a very plain, simple English standpoint? When you have the president whose sole responsibility is to take care of America, the Constitution, election interference, and make sure that we are the America that I used to know, not the America you and I know now. And he is then prosecuted because he is leading so significantly, frankly, in the polls that he doesn't even need to go on a debate. This is the crisis that we're in as American people.
This represented Jordan Flames Fulton County, Georgia DA Fani Willis, after launching investigation demanding all record that may prove collusion between her and Biden DOJ to take down Trump. Did you coordinate with them? Did you work with Jack Smith? These are some questions pertaining to this. I don't know. Some people says even Trump lawyer, they don't have a case. She recently had this interview on Fox News, and reading through articles, it is concerning. People are furious. Will the case be dismissed? What exactly? If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. And if possible, why not share this clip?
The crisis that we're in as American people, there is no case. Unfortunately, we have library books, Sean. We have bookkeeping because they didn't like the category on the QuickBooks tab that he put on a legal expense. And then we have this, which is him doing his job as the president of the United States, frankly, something we haven't seen for several years since Biden's been in the administration. Yeah. And they're going to try and put him in prison because they can't beat him.
Let's talk about, and by the way, how do you get 4 trials in during a primary season into a general election season? It would be an impossibility from my standpoint.
Right.
Now, in the case of this RICO case, the obligation to prove intent is critical on all of these charges. In other words, that the defendant acted with the intention of committing a crime or a fraud. I would bet every penny I had that if you gave Donald Trump a lie detector test and you asked him whether he believed everything that he was saying, the answer would be 1,000% yes. And yet we have these, historically, we've had other slates of electors brought forward. How did this happen, and how do you prove intent, Greg Jarrett?
Well, I don't think you can in this particular case. Proving a criminal state of mind means that the district attorney has to prove that Donald Trump was aware that what he was doing was unlawful. Everything we know about his conduct leading up to the certification of electors is that he thought he was availing himself properly of the legal process. And Exhibit A, and this is the most exculpatory for the president, is his conversation with the Secretary of State in Georgia, in which he is complaining and lied in an earlier filing about what Donald Trump said, claiming he said, you need to find 11,780 votes. That's not what he said. Read the transcript or listen to the conversation.
It is a long transcript.
Right.
And in that transcript, at times he's talking about there are hundreds of thousands of votes that you guys got wrong.
Right. He is saying, I need to find that many votes because that is my vote deficit. Well, every losing candidate says that, which is why they ask for reviews, recalculations, and recounts. It's perfectly lawful. It is not criminal intent.
All right. Alina, let me ask you this. In the case in Washington, they want to start the trial on January 2nd. Interesting. In Georgia, they want to start on March 4th. Okay, that's a Monday. On Tuesday, the next day, that would be called Super Tuesday, one of the most important primary days for...
Recently, crazy John Bolton had this to say, pertaining to Trump. Donald Trump deliberately looks like a thug in his mugshot in a bid to intimidate judges, says John Bolton. This is the same person who proudly said on TV, brag about it, how he has coordinated coups in different countries. He's standing here to talk about this. Totally insane. Going down this article recently published by the Daily Mail, Donald Trump looks like a thug in his world-famous mugshot, which he may have planned as a sign of intimidation toward prosecutors and judges in Georgia, his former national security advisor has claimed.
Ambassador, thank you for being here tonight. I mean, I just wonder, as someone who worked inside the West Wing when Donald Trump was president, what is it like for you to see his mugshot tonight?
Well, I thought it was, as with most things Trump does, carefully staged. They must have thought about what look they wanted. He could have smiled. He could have looked benign. Instead, he looks like a thug. And I think it's intended to be a sign of intimidation against the prosecutors and judges. That's what they picked, and we'll see that picture everywhere.
So you think they actually spent time deciding, you know, should he smile in this? Should he have this scowl that he appears to have gone with?
Almost as much time as they spent combing his hair.
He may have planned as a sign of intimidation toward prosecutors and judges in Georgia, his former national security advisor has claimed. John Bolton mocked Trump glowing expressions in the historic shot, the first booking photo ever taken of a former president. The picture was taken after Donald Trump was arrested at the Fulton County Jail in Atlanta on fraud charges relating to interference in the 2020 election. The process of taking it was carefully staged, Bolton said. As with most things Trump does, they thought about what looks they wanted. He could have smiled. He could have looked mean. Instead, he looks like a doll. You know, when I look at this man, sometimes this is not a first attack he's launching against Trump. Totally insane. This mugshot backfired like never before. The kind of support I've seen Trump gaining on social media is intimidating Democrat. It is like he has taken over a lot of these platforms. When you go to TikTok, you will see how even the hood, putting out videos, calling on people to rally behind him. It is to clearly signal something. This is what Democrats hate. It is like a nightmare to them. A lot of people have realized the truth on what is going on, and they will not back down till they cast the vote. Some says, this is my first time I will cast my vote. I have never voted in my entire life. Not only this single person, there are millions of people that will obviously come out to stop this. It is insane to actually see the continuous persecution of Trump. And let me not say it. I want to know your opinion pertaining to all this. Drop that under the comment sections, and please endeavor to share this video.
Donald Trump without an iota of vision for this country. They could just change the channel to MSNBC right now.
In fact, Ramaswamy's presence and the attention and ire he seemed to draw from everybody else on that stage was easily one of the bigger stories of the night. As the most Trump-like candidate, he seemed to suck up the oxygen on stage as he tried to capture the anti-establishment and anti-government screeds and grievances that first catapulted Trump to the top of the Republican field back in 2015. Here are some of the biggest hits of the field against Ramaswamy.
Let us be honest as Republicans. I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can